Today, for the very first time, I get to listen to the brand new Gorillaz album. This is Cracker Island. Hello everybody and welcome back to another album review / reaction here on my channel. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome, thank you very much for watching, and just know I will have timestamps in the video. You can skip around, skip to any section you want. If you have a favorite song on this album, you can skip to that, and what I'm going to do is talk a teeny little bit about the Gorillaz and my feelings about them and Damon Albarn as a whole at the beginning of the video here. Then I'm going to listen all the way through Cracker Island. I'm going to be using Spotify, the free version, so I will edit around ads and things like that, but I'll have everything clearly labeled on screen. And then after I'm done listening to the album, I will talk about what I've heard for a little while. I probably will do quite a bit of talking over the music, so just be aware of that. That's what I do here. I try to break down production things, just really pretty much anything I feel about the music, though I tend to focus much more on how things were recorded, why things sound the way they sound, how the mix was put together. If there's a problem with the mixing or the mastering or something like that, I'll point that out and maybe focus on that. I don't hope any songs don't fade out. So all those things. Song structuring is going to be important, but I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, I want to bring that up at the beginning because I know that I have had a Gorillaz video on my channel before. This was actually the Gorillaz' last album, which was called, what is it called? Song Machine? Song Machine. This album was one of the earliest reviews on my channel when I decided to start doing reviews after I was so inspired by seeing all of the other awesome people reacting to songs and really not too much albums, but songs and videos and things like that on YouTube over the pandemic. I just got really inspired and wanted to do this myself. And so anyway, that's how my channel started. And this album was one of the first ones that I did, and I was very disappointed about it. And I'll get to that in a second. But I just want to say, I also, on my channel, you can go watch this video for Song Machine, and then you can also watch my video for Damon Albarn's solo album that came out, I don't think it was last year, I think it was the previous year, 2021. I think it was called The Closer the Stream, the Pure, or The Closer the Fountain, the Purer the Stream Flows, or something like that. Some combination of those words all mashed together in a very long sentence for the title of an album. But I know on that album in particular, I wasn't able to upload the video with the songs in the video itself. Normally on my channel, I try to include the audio from the album that I'm listening to so that you watching the video can hear exactly what I am hearing. But with Gorillaz are probably one of the biggest bands that I will ever react to. And for whatever reason, you know, whoever owns the copyrights to these songs, you know, Gorillaz are a giant, mighty machine. And I do think Damon Albarn would understand the idea of allowing his music to be used in YouTube videos like this. I think that he would probably understand that and be okay with that. But as I said, the Gorillaz are a giant, enormous machine. And while I do think that Damon Albarn and Jamie Hewlett have ultimate control over things, I think that, you know, their record labels and all these other things that are involved. And so I just want to say, right at the beginning of this video here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to include the audio from Cracker Island in this video. So if that's the case, remember, I will have everything clearly labeled on screen. I know it's kind of annoying and frustrating to have to like load the songs up yourself or whatever, but I will include a link in the description of this video to listen on Spotify. If I can find one of those sort of like Linktree links to like listen to the album in all the different places, I'll try to include that as well. But, you know, I hope that doesn't come to that, but it probably will come to the fact that you might have to listen to the album yourself along with listening to the album with me. Now, if you're familiar enough with the songs, obviously you can just listen to my take on it and listen to me listening it to a song or to the album. But I know that that's not as fun. You want to hear the music in this, but it all has to do with the copyright and stuff. And every one of my videos gets a copyright claim, but I don't get a copyright strike or anything like that. That's only, I believe, if you like egregiously break the rules and don't take the video down. I'm not too sure, but with the Damon Albarn video and with the Gorillaz, the last Gorillaz album I didn't include the audio at that point in my videos. I wasn't really too sure how that process worked, so I just listened to it and didn't even bother about it. But for this one, I've been doing that on my channel. So know that. Again, you can listen to the timestamp. You can look at the timestamps in the description. I'll have a link to listen along, all those different things down there in the video. So I want to say right off the bat that I was not originally planning on doing a reaction to this album because for the last, I don't even know how many years, but maybe we could say 10 years or so, I have been really let down by the things that Damon Albarn has decided to release. And when I did my reaction to the last Gorillaz album, to Song Machine, I think one of the things that I did that was kind of fun for that reaction was I kind of played the whole entire video like the Gorillaz were real people, like Murdoch, Tootie, Noodle, and Russell were real people, and I kind of had to be the sort of shtick of that video. And I'm not going to do that this time because I think it's much more interesting and it means more to sort of discuss my feelings about Damon Albarn and how, for a very large part of my life, the Gorillaz debut album came out in 2001, I believe, and I absolutely fell in love with that album. And since then, I have considered Damon Albarn to be sort of like one of my musical idols. I went back and rediscovered all of Blur. I absolutely love Blur. I've listened to The Good, the Bad, and the Queen, his Monkey soundtrack, things like that. He's done all sorts of really interesting things. Dr. D, he's done really cool things, some of which I don't care for as much, and that's totally fine. I think everything that he does is done very well. It's just not necessarily for me. But a large amount of the Gorillaz catalog and the Blur catalog I absolutely love. So that all combined, that's like 20-some albums. Because Blur has had many albums in their catalog, and I really enjoyed almost all of the Blur stuff. And I really enjoy almost all of the Gorillaz stuff. However, with each subsequent Gorillaz release, I think one of the things that I've been realizing, and I discussed this a lot during my Damon Albarn video for Pure the Stream Fountain Near or whatever. So you can go back and watch that on my channel if you want to hear me discuss that a little bit more. I think I discussed it towards the end after I listened to the album. But I think that he on his last few projects, he hasn't been making music that's necessarily for me, and that is totally fine. Not, every artist that I love doesn't have to make music that's for me. And sometimes it can be very frustrating when people have this sort of like entitled feeling that if a band releases, or a band or an artist releases an album that they don't care for, they take it as like a personal insult against them. And I try not to ever look at things that way. I really only ever get frustrated and angry at an album if there's something like this that's technically wrong with it. Which unfortunately last year in 2022, my 3 most anticipated albums, Demon Hunter, Blue October, and The Editors albums, all were very bad and sounded bad and had bad production things involved with them that, in my opinion, made me kind of mad and frustrated at those albums as a whole. Now, again, I want to say with Damon Albarn and all of his projects, I've never been frustrated or angry with him for any of the music he's ever released because, again, I just feel like it's not necessarily for me. And with the last Gorillaz album, Song Machine, and to an extent, this started with The Fall, which I know The Fall is a much different album, and with Humans as well, to an extent, though there are some really great songs on Humans. There's really nothing that I care for on The Fall that much. Sorry, I'm putting all this too far back. There we go. And then the Now, I guess if I'm going in chronological order, it would be like this. These albums by the Gorillaz, which are their 4 most recent albums, even though they go back pretty far to when? 2010. So, we're talking 13 years ago. Plastic Beach was when? 2010 as well, yeah. So everything Gorillaz released before this, I've absolutely loved. Almost every song on every one of their earlier albums here, which I have all their stuff. Oh, shoot, I forgot to turn off the furnace. Hold on one second, I'll be right back. Okay, so, sorry about that, had to go shut the furnace off. But anyway, I'm back. I don't really remember what I was saying. I think I was saying that I like all of, I got Plastic Beach, I've got Plastic Beach, D-sides, Demon Days, G-sides, and of course, the debut album. To my knowledge, this is all the music that they released before The Fall came out and before the rest of these. But my point in going through all of this is to say that I think that, like I've already said several times now, each of these sort of subsequent releases is getting a little bit further and further from the music that I want from the Gorillaz. On their debut album, I really loved the trip-hop feel, but also the hip-hop feel. And I'm not a huge hip-hop fan. I do love trip-hop, though there's not a lot in that genre that I really can... There's not a lot of music out there. Trip-hop's not a huge genre that's, as full of as all these other genres are, but... generally I'm like a metal guy. I really love electronic music. I love really pretty much all sorts of things. I like lots of pop music and things. And I think one of the cool things about the Gorillaz in general is that they're kind of an amalgamation, a combination of all of those different things. And one of the things that really disappointed me about Song Machine and Humans is that I felt the songs weren't structured in a way that I enjoy music to be structured. Now, if you are a fan of my channel here and you've been watching any of my videos before, you've heard me talk about song structuring a lot in the past. So I'm not going to go on and on about that. I'll just know that I am the type of person that really wants a song to be intro, verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. If every song that was ever written was like that, I would absolutely love it. That's the style that I love of songwriting. Of course, you have classic songs out there like Bohemian Rhapsody and Ghost Love Score by Nightwish, which does actually follow that structuring. There's just a lot of different sections in between. But, there's more progressive music out there. I just listened to Riverside's most recent album that was released a few weeks ago. I absolutely loved that. But I'm getting a little bit more into progressive music and music that is structured a little bit differently as I'm getting a little bit older, and I feel like as my musical tastes are maturing a little bit. But one thing I don't have the patience for is short songs that are basically just two sections, a verse and a chorus, and then a verse and a chorus and over. And that was pretty much the song structuring for every song on Song Machine. And it was the song structuring for a lot of this stuff on Humans. Now, on Humans, there was 2 full discs of music on Humans, and I think there's actually quite a bit of music on... I have the 2-disc version of this as well, I believe, Song Machine. But Song Machine, I really liked some of the ideas that Damon was playing with. And, I also will say I love the collaborative nature of the Gorillaz, so, I'm not sure how much of the things that I think negatively, though, about some of these albums are things that I believe would be Damon's decisions at the end of the day when creating the music. But with Humans, there was a lot more sort of modern sort of rap and hip-hop sort of styles rather than the sort of more old-school hip-hop, which is the style of hip-hop or rap that I enjoy. And I don't listen to hip-hop or rap very much at all. And it's funny, people always think of the Gorillaz as sort of like a rap group, but on their first few albums, they have probably 70 to 75% of all the music on these albums there's no rapping on it at all. There might be a really interesting beat or something like that, but they had very few tracks at the beginning of their career that were actually featured rappers. Now, the songs that they did get explode and did get really popular were a lot of those songs featuring rappers or featuring guest artists like that, and so it makes sense that he would lean a little bit more into that. However, with albums like The Fall and the Now, there isn't very much rapping on those at all. But then we have Humans and we have Song Machine, and there's a lot of rapping on these albums. And so... I guess it's kind of hard for me to articulate because Damon Albarn is such a special place in my sort of musical history if you just look at my personal tastes. But I have been feeling a little bit dejected by his music over the last 10 years or so. And, I really was disappointed by that Pure the Fountain, More Flow, or the Flowing the Stream, Whatever Flows album, because that album was also structured in such a way that I didn't care for it as much. It was very interesting songs that I thought felt very short for as slow and emotional as they felt. And so that whole album was very disappointing to me, to the point where I don't really think I enjoyed anything from it. And Song Machine was disappointing to me in the fact that I felt like some of the songs had really cool ideas, but they didn't stick around long enough for me to be satisfied at the end of the song. And I know for some people, they would probably be like, oh, well, just, put the song on repeat and listen to that song more. But that's not how I've consumed music, really. I have grown up with the idea that, and this is all self-imposed, but I've grown up with the idea that you take an album, you listen to it, and then you listen to something else always. Never listen to the same album more than once in a row. Cherish those things that you love and try to space out your experiences with those things so that they mean even more the next time you get to experience it. And I know that's really weird and philosophical and probably very silly, but, that's how I consume things. And so when I hear a song that I can perceive as being too short, it really is very disappointing to me. And I feel like that was how a lot of the stuff on Song Machine felt. Now, with that being said, as I started this video off saying, I was not going to originally react to Cracker Island because I thought, well, I've done certain things, it takes a lot of effort for me to do one of these videos, and I didn't know if I necessarily wanted to do a reaction to an album that I wasn't going to enjoy. You know, it's fun to sit here and bash on something if I think it's legitimately bad, and I would never just bash on something for the sake of entertainment. I'm certainly not afraid to like speak my mind, and people get frustrated with me sometimes, like with the Blue October album last year. The thing that was wrong with that album was the fact that the vocals were spread wide the entire time. Justin Furstenfeld, the singer of Blue October, double-tracked his vocals and spread one take to the left and one take to the right all the way, and I absolutely hated it. I could not stand it. I cannot listen to the last two Blue October albums because they were, for a majority of the album, every song is mixed that way, and I can't do it. So I have no problem speaking my mind in these reactions, but I just didn't really feel up to doing another Gorillaz album reaction, another Damon Albarn reaction that was going to disappoint me. However, yesterday when the album came out, I clicked and I listened to about the first maybe 30 seconds of the first song, which I think was just called Cracker Island. For the record, I've heard no singles from this, nothing. The only thing I have heard from any second of this album is the first 20 to 30 seconds of the first track. I really liked what I heard. There wasn't much going on, but then what I did was I was on Spotify and I just looked at the track lengths, and I was very surprised that the tracks were all over 3 minutes long. I'm getting very frustrated in the last few years, and I think it might have something to do with TikTok and having shorter sections of songs and having that just sort of like lead to having shorter songs. The last Atreyu album, for example, every song was under 2.5 minutes long. There was like 15 songs on the album, but every song was shorter than I felt a song should be if you have a really cool idea. You know, I'm speaking in a lot of general terms here, and I'm like blanketing my statements. So obviously there are really awesome songs that are probably 30 seconds long. I don't know of any. I guess some like jingles and stuff like that, but my point was just that I've been very frustrated and disappointed with Damon Albarn's output the last 10 years or so, and I wasn't feeling up to this. But I saw the lengths of the songs. I was very surprised. I saw all the people that were sort of involved on this album, like the guest artists that are featured on the songs. I like some of them I don't care for that much. But, you know, at the end of the day, I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and do this reaction and see what it sounds like. So before we get into it, I just want to point out a couple of really cool things here. I have my Plastic Beach vinyl over here. It's the only Gorillaz vinyl that I have. I really wish that I had a copy of their debut album on vinyl, but it's a pretty hard one to find, I guess to my understanding, at least now. But last time in my last Gorillaz video, I'm pretty sure I showed that and maybe showed it off a little bit, but I don't think I took these out. And so I just want to point these out, how cool these are. These inserts here for Plastic Beach. The vinyl records themselves are just regular black vinyl. Now, they are the thicker, heavier. I'm not sure what the gram is, but they're the thicker, heavier vinyl rather than the cheaper ones. But it's really cool, and I just think these images are really neat. I've always been a huge fan of the artwork of the Gorillaz. I think it's one of the most important things, one of the most unique things, obviously, about the Gorillaz. And I have the Gorillaz Rise of the Ogre over here. You probably can't see it because of my microphone, but I have the Rise of the Ogre over here, their book, which if you are unfamiliar with that, just look up Rise of the Ogre. And if you're interested in the Gorillaz at all, purchase it and buy that, listen to it, read it somehow. I don't know if they have it in like digital format. They probably do, but anyway, here's the other record that came in that double disc set of Plastic Beach, and I absolutely love this. Of all the Gorillaz characters, Noodle is my absolute favorite. Though 2D is my second favorite. I really like everyone in the Gorillaz, though. Here is the last image on the records, the record sleeves at least. I just wanted to point those out. And I have one of my several Gorillaz shirts on, but, you know, whatever, that's neither here nor there. I've never gotten to see them live, obviously. They're a very difficult band to see live. But that doesn't matter. We're not here for that. So, real quick before we get into actually listening to the album, I have one more thing to do. Look right here on the table. Be right back. For this video, I have a very special beverage. If you watch any of my previous videos, you know that I'm usually a big proponent of Mountain Dew and the various flavors of Mountain Dew, or any sort of soda pop. But for this video, I've just got some nice, bright blue, one of my favorite drinks of all time, the Blue Tampico juice. Now, where I live in Nebraska, it is very hard to find this Tampico flavor in the Walmarts, Hy-Vees, Bakers, all the different grocery stores we have, Super Savers, all that kind of grocery stores. All they have, that Tampico is a very common brand around here. You can find it pretty much anywhere, but they only have 2 or 3 flavors. They have the tropical punch flavor, the mango flavor, and then sometimes maybe they have like a darker red flavor that I don't think I've ever tried. But there's one place in a small town near here called Wahoo, Nebraska, where I can go to the small grocery store that's in this town, and they have Blue Tampico. It's like $1 more than it costs at Walmart, but it's worth it because of how amazing the Blue Tampico tastes. So cheers. Thank you for watching this video. Okay, so I have everything pulled up on my computer. We're going to be listening on Spotify. I will edit around commercials unless I have something poignant and I take a break during the commercial to say it. So otherwise, I will try to edit everything so that if you're listening to the album all the way through with me, if you have to play it on your end, which I think you might have to. If you have to listen to it on your end, I'll try to cut the commercials out and not say anything, and then edit the next song right when the commercial begins. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you can listen all the way through without having to worry about me. If you can hear the music and you can actually hear Cracker Island, then we don't have to worry about it, but I'm not too sure about that. So just be aware of that. Also, I have an extra little cable that's hooked up here that sort of reverses the stereo image of my headphones. So if I'm talking about something and I say it's on the right, but for you it's on the left, no, it's a mess up on my end, and I'm not thinking about it. Usually I'm pretty good about remembering that my headphones stereo image is reversed, but it is what it is. So just be aware of that. So I see we have 10 songs, 37 minutes. That's actually not that bad. 10 songs, 37 minutes. If you look at the track lengths, we got 333, 350, 331, 426, 335, 340, 331, 313, 341, 326. So only one song under 330, or everything else right around 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So what I will say is I'm going to be disappointed if every song is just 2 sections, and I will definitely point that out. I don't want any song to fade out, ever. I think it's bad songwriting. In every case, there's no excuse for ever fading a song out, in my opinion. I see we have 2 songs here with that are labeled explicit. So on my channel here, I will edit those songs so that there's nothing in there, just because that's my personal preference. If the song is like horrific and it has like so many swear words I can't edit them out, I'll just mute that song. So whatever, just know that. Yeah. Center the self, relax. This is very exciting. I'm very trepidatious, obviously, with everything I was saying, but know that I'm excited, even though I probably sounded very negative at the beginning of the video here. Very excited. I'll adjust the volume as I need to. Track 1, Cracker Island, featuring Thundercat. Have not heard this at all. Okay, so this is what I heard. I heard the drums, loved it. Heard that synth, loved it. 2D with the vocals right away. So this song started immediately. Verse 1 started right away. Got a tiny bit of a funky feeling. Love those synths, very dry, very Casio sort of keyboard sounding, like from Plastic Beach. Damon loves those kind of synths. I'm going to turn it up just a smidge. Ooh, there's the bass. Yes. Ooh, the bass sounds so thick and fat. I love it. Murdoch bringing it with the bass. Ooh, holy cow. Yes. Little technical bass rundown there. Very cool. It's like a shaker type of thing in there, some kind of thing. I believe that that's electronic, though. It doesn't sound like a real shaker. It really fits very well with the music, though. I love it. Ooh, that bass sounds phenomenal. Those little guitar stabs in there. Little, not stabs necessarily, but very funky sounding guitar. Very dry. Really love it though. Very reminiscent of some of the stuff that was done in like Michael Jackson's very famous popular songs. They taught themselves to be a cow? Now, one other thing I will say is, I did not know how the Song Machine was like, how it was received, and apparently it was received really well, and that they had like an explosion of the popularity of their music on like TikTok, I guess. So that was news to me. I had no clue, but I also want to say right away that the last few videos I filmed, for whatever reason, once I start the music and my computer starts playing music through, either on my CD player or Spotify, it really slows down the video. So I've had a really hard time. I've had to like chop up all the audio and like retry to sync everything up. It was awful. So if this video seems out of sync at any point, you know, I'll just try to, I guess, ignore that. I know it's super annoying, but yeah, my computer apparently can't handle it, so. All right, so I really enjoyed this. The whole song felt like one section. I didn't hear very much deviation from that, and I cannot tell you exactly what the chorus is. There was some really neat background vocals in there, so I think that probably when the background vocals were happening, it was a verse, and then when they weren't, it was the chorus. But I enjoyed that. Very funky. I like the sounds. So this is Oil featuring Stevie Nicks. I'm not a huge Stevie Nicks fan, but I mean, I like some of the classic stuff. Oh yeah. The kick and the snare sound really great. They sounded great in the first track as well. Drums panned right in the middle. Everything I've heard, those drums. There's the little toms that were panned. Ooh. Oh, that's an interesting little, very subtle synth there off to the side. That thing. I love it. Damon Albarn having the... I guess it's sort of a vocal... I don't know if it's, you would necessarily call it distortion. There's a very extreme effects on the vocals to make it slice through the mix. That kind of sounds like an acoustic guitar, but I don't think so. I think it's more of like a jangly piano type thing. There's a lot of vocal effects, though, and it's an effect that Damon has liked to use on 2D's vocals for pretty much all the Gorillaz stuff, but the much more recent stuff. It really helps the vocals slice through everything. It's a very narrow band, sort of an EQ that's boosting. Really interesting. Sounds good, though. Whoa. I love that we're getting a lot of 2D vocals here in the first two songs. Nice. Now Stevie Nicks' harmony vocals are off to the side. Her lower voice is very... I'm surprised she's singing at such a low register. It's very nice, though. You know, when she started singing, and even right now, it does feel a little bit like old lady voice, which is really interesting. I know Stevie Nicks is older now, and I don't say that in a negative way at all. But you can just tell from the timbre of her voice that she has a bit of a more mature voice, and I don't mind it at all. I really enjoy that. Damon Albarn at this point in his career is pretty old as well. Not as old as Stevie Nicks, but... And obviously not that age has anything to do with it, but, you know, singers' voices mature as they get older, and sometimes that can lead to some really awesome releases later in life when people have not just the more experience, but their vocal range can expand or get lower, usually as people get older. So, very interesting. This sounds like we got some real drums and real cymbals in there, which is really cool. Every kick and snare hit we're hearing for sure, and I think even pretty much all the drums we've heard are electronic drums. Now this sounds like some real cymbals there. The snare is very tight. They picked fantastic samples for this. Now someone probably played the drums, but they just played an electronic drum kit, and then you get to choose the samples. So that song did not, it felt a little short to me. It didn't feel like they came back to any sort of a chorus. So even though it was 3 minutes and 50 seconds long, it pretty much felt the same the entire way, other than when Stevie Nicks' vocals got wide. Oh my gosh. I gotta turn it up. Love this. Love the chill feel. Dude, that marimba thing, that belly marimba thing, so cool.
It's a cracked screen world where white blooms above the city.
And everything has such a crisp, clear, nice, clear tone to it. All the electronic elements, everything you're hearing, except the vocals. And I have noticed this in some of the music before, especially on Song Machine, that 2D's vocals kind of, he has this effect on him. It's really interesting, and I do think it sounds good, but it can also, it can make it sound like the vocals are a little bit separate from the frequency range of the rest of the song. It's very strange. I do think it's not bothering me negatively at all. I just kind of want to point it out. Sometimes the vocals can feel a little detached from the rest of the song. So this song got bigger, and now it settled down a little bit, and I hope we'll get a little verse again, and then maybe a chorus again. You know, I really do wonder, you know, I don't have TikTok on my phone. I don't do TikTok. I've never done Twitter or Instagram either. But I know kind of what TikTok is. It's shorter form videos, and there's a lot of music involved, and there's dancing and things. But as far as I know, a lot of the TikTok videos are like 30 seconds long, maybe shorter. So it's like, if artists are making music specifically to be featured on TikTok, don't you think that that would just inherently lend itself to artists making shorter sections, things that can fit nicely into TikTok? I don't know. It's really interesting. I feel like TikTok could be negatively affecting the music industry, but, you know, only time will tell. I'm sure lots of things have said that about all sorts of different ways to sort of consume music over the last 50 years. You know, one time we had a bunch of, everything had to fit on a little 45 RPM record. You could only fit so much on there, and so songs would just fade out at a certain point because they had to end before the amount of time on the vinyl was over. So this sounds great. It sounds just sort of like a nice repeating beat and all this stuff, but it does feel like the song has been pretty much the exact same since it started. Ooh, and it's very egregiously fading out. Wow, that's really too bad. That's now my least favorite song on the album, unless we run up against a bunch of other ones that fade out too, but this is an egregious fade out that's of the unacceptable kind. So that song started, and I was really happy with it, and it ended, and it's completely forgettable, and I will probably never listen to it again. Don't hate me. I'm so sorry. It's just how I feel about music and songs that fade out. We all have our things, and for me, one of my things is songs that fade out are worthless. So now, that being said, there's lots of amazing songs that do actually fade out, so I can be a little hyperbolic, right? Let me be a little hyperbolic, if that's even the right word. Love this. The drums sound fantastic on every song. It's got this very cool sort of chill vibe that I would associate with the Gorillaz. Ooh, love that whistling. So this is Silent Running featuring Adalai Omotayo. Adalai Omotayo. Machine assisted, I disappeared into a dream you don't want to hear. How I got caught up in nowhere. His vocals have had that same effect in every song. Oh. Love that, his low vocal harmony in the back. Really cool. Ooh, there's the guest vocalist, I think. Very cool, very simple. Really like it though. I love that palm muted guitar, very cool. And the whistling, oh. The spatial imaging in this song is done very well. The synth that's pretty wide. The drums always in the middle. Bass very tasty, sounds perfect. And that palm muted bass or palm muted guitar sounds fantastic. There's multiple layers of the palm muted guitar as well. Very tasty. Piano as well. Very cool. Damon Albarn is such a good piano player, and you don't hear too much piano in his Gorillaz stuff. A lot of piano on his solo stuff. Here, the Fountaineer stream thing, whatever. A lot of shakers and aux percussion, little wood block hits in there. I think I hear every now and then. Ooh. Oh, that's cool. That sort of like tick, that sort of like ticking sound. It's like ping pong echoing. Yes. A little synth solo here. Now, if this song just does this, repeats it a bunch, and then fades out without going back to the chorus again, it will be doing exactly what I don't want these songs to do. Now, we do have about a minute left in the song, so... Okay, so they're doing a little bit more vocals. And I guess this is like the chorus part. I'm just scared now that more songs are going to fade out.
Memories of triumph. This is the season of madness.
I will say already I like this album more than Song Machine. Now, I need to go back and listen to Song Machine again, because I haven't listened to it, to be honest. I haven't listened to it since I filmed the reaction. It just left such a bad taste in my mouth that I never felt the need to go back to it again. So... And I did see that the Gorillaz CD for Cracker Island on Amazon was on sale for only $11.99, which is pretty good for a new CD. All right, great. That was great. That's probably my favorite song on the album so far. Next, we're on track 5. Wait, might get an ad. Okay, New Gold featuring Tame Impala and Booty Brown. Really excited to hear this one. Oh, I love that. Dry synth, but with a nice delay, and get a bit of a roomy sort of tone there. Bit of a reverb, so I guess not super dry, but... Okay, that faded in, and then it faded out. Now, I will say, I don't know any Tame Impala, really. I heard one of their albums years ago, and it pretty much just sounded like drums and vocals. That's the way the mix was done, at least. Ex-wrestler? That's pretty cool. Oh, I love this. A good flow over a good beat, there's nothing better. Especially in sort of a more poppy sounding song. I want to just say real quick, because the ad just happened, I have never heard any Kendrick Lamar. And I keep getting this ad for those two guys who are going through Kendrick Lamar's catalog trying to determine what his best song is. Does he have an album called Pimple Butterfly? Because if he does, that's got to be one of the worst titles of an album ever. If it's just a song, well then that's fine, I guess. But Pimple Butterfly? That's what it sounds like the guy's saying. Now, I've always just sort of assumed that he was saying Purple Butterfly, but it really sounds like he's saying Pimple Butterfly, and I've heard that ad so long. Sorry, okay, back to this. So we've had no 2D vocals in this one yet. And I know Tame Impala is a band, so I'm not sure what they're contributing to this, but probably vocals. Maybe playing bass. There, we got some Damon Albarn vocals. I mean 2D vocals. I love all the aux percussion stuff. I said in that first track that I didn't know if it was a real shaker or not, and I still can't tell, but I really like all the shaker, tambourine type of stuff. I guess we haven't heard too many tambourines, but this different shakers and things, I really like that. It gives this song more of a flowy feel rather than a disjointed or snappy electronic feel. It feels more organic that way when you have that sort of in there. Gives it more of a human feeling, whether it's human played or not. The drums and bass on every song have been phenomenal. I like that song too. I didn't hear where the bad word was. I was probably talking over it, but... Okay, this is Baby Queen, track 6. We're over halfway. All the songs do have this sort of a very similar feel.
From Thailand again, she had grown up into a queen. Down in the abyss where the night never turns to daylight, she kept me in a Polaroid that was pinned upon her wall. Under Garuda's mirrored eyes, she takes flight. Yeah, the kid's alright.
I love this. This is giving me, obviously, Plastic Beach vibes. This whole album is giving me sort of Plastic Beach vibes. The synths coming in here dictating sort of like, okay, now we're at a different part of the song. This very much feels like a summer album to me. So it's interesting that it came out in February.
She fell into the generals on the watch all around her.
I love that we're getting so much 2D vocals. And every song has a very similar sonic palette. You know, the drums, the bass are sort of the crux of everything, with with everything else being sort of these additional little sprinkles, whether it's synths or guitars, and it all adds that sort of relaxed, beachy, funky vibe that still has a nice edge to it because of the synths themselves, giving it that sort of tiny bit of a mechanical, cold feeling, I guess. Oh, yeah. Love those little tom hits in there, that little tom fill. I probably need to just stop thinking about it so hard and enjoy it for what it is, you know? This would probably be a much easier album for them to perform live, so I wonder if Damon is planning to go out and have more shows with this album. I kind of feel like they've done that every other album, though. Like, the Now Now was significantly more easy to play than Humans or Song Machine, whereas The Fall was all completely written and recorded like on an iPod as they were touring for Plastic Beach, so...
You were in my dream.
That song, again, didn't really feel like it had a chorus too much. Pretty much all the songs feel like they start and then they just kind of stay that way till the end. But I enjoy how it's all sounding so much that I don't have as much of an issue with it as I did on Song Machine. Okay, this is Tarantula. Love that title for a song, Tarantula. One of my favorite Pendulum songs, old Pendulum songs. Okay, here we have something that sounds a little sonically different, that piano. Oh. Ooh, very different sounding kick drum. Slightly less rounded, more boxy sounding. Really like it. Sounds more like the kick from the second track.
I think the sadness has come again.
Ah.
Green velvet in a passing.
So now his vocals have less high frequencies in them. It fits in there. It's still got that effect on it. Almost sounds like he's using like a smaller microphone, like a small capsule microphone. And I'm not like a huge mic guy or gear guy or anything. I understand the fundamentals of how things work, but you know, I can't say, oh, this sounds like it was recorded with a Neumann, you know, whatever. Love the kick drum on this. And I just mentioned Pendulum. Very sort of drum and bass sounding kick, very heavy kick. I love this. I was gonna start dancing and I was like, no, I probably better not. Let's save a little bit of my dignity. The sounds they're using are so cool. I really like it. The strategy that he's using with the verse vocals for the most part are just right in the middle at one take. And then all other vocals kind of swirl around, they're spread wide, they're different registers of vocals, and it does help separate everything and help you feel a little bit different in terms of what you're hearing sonically. He's using the vocals to a very good effect to make the song feel bigger during parts, which is really nice. This might be my favorite song on here. Ooh. Please don't fade out. Please, Damon Albarn, do not fade this song out. I love it so much. Love that piano in there, very nice. Bringing it back to the beginning of the song. It's very big sounding piano, but it's not overpowering. Get a little chorus thing going here at the end. Yes. Yes, it's not going to fade out. Ooh. The sort of timbala type drums. Very cool. Oh. And also, that's very cool. Yes. Love that song. It didn't feel very long, but it felt long enough, honestly, to me. That was Tarantula. This is Tormenta, featuring Bad Bunny, who I know very well because he was at WrestleMania. He's a WWE superstar. That's all I know about the guy. I know he's great, good athlete, big fan of the WWE, fan of pro wrestling in general, as am I, as I have been for 30 years at this point, really. So, never heard any of his music, really, oddly enough. I know he was like the #1 selling artist of last year. Never heard a single thing he did. Ooh, very cool there. Oh, I love it. His voice is very smooth. I was not expecting that. Oh, and I love listening to music in other languages. Completely different sounding drums in this song, completely. Different vibe, all over, completely different vibe. I would almost wonder if Damon had been working on this song separately and it just got done at this time. But also, Bad Bunny exploded recently in popularity, so I don't know, but this feels like it doesn't really belong on the rest of the album so far. But that's fine. That snare drum is so interesting. It's got these low frequencies that are spread, but the little ting of it is in the middle. Love that. Are we going to get Damon on this song at all? So now to me this feels like it could be a little bit of a chorus part, but because we haven't had it so far in this song, I don't know what's going to happen. Is it just going to do some stuff here, be a little funky for a little bit, and then end? Oh. Love the rain sound. Very pure, the water flow, the stream closer, whatever. Very cool. Love this. Love that. Hate it in context of this song because the song really wasn't a song. It was just a verse repeated twice. Yeah. So that to me sounded like something that could have been on Song Machine. Just little nuggets of really cool musical ideas that didn't feel like they went anywhere or were completed at all. I only got 2 ads there. Skinny Ape. Whoa. Okay. Maybe that Tormenta song was a nice connection to the rest of the albums. It's going to be interesting. Oh.
There will be time and there will be a sign. Hey, when all the kids who have canceled time will take my hands and pull me up again. Hey,
Oh.
cheer me up and help me walk again. To the pole and he's trying to let it go.
I love how the synths are kind of mimicking, or not, they're playing along with what he's singing.
And my intent is to bring in a new world. Don't be sad for me.
Oh, the fidelity of the drums here sounds fantastic. And that synth is so cool.
I can balance on the highest tree. You can only see out loud.
I'm definitely getting trip hop vibes from this, with the sort of background soundscapes and sound effects. I love this. Yes, if this song doesn't fade out, it's going to be the best song on the album. Who knows what's going to happen, though. All right, we get a second chorus here.
I'm a cartoon G. And my
I love the A. I love it.
is to bring in a new
All right, what's going to happen here?
be sad for
Listen to those compressors do their work.
Don't be sad for me. I'm a cartoon G. And my intent is to bring in a new world. Don't be sad for me.
Oh, how different this sounds from everything else on the album and how it's making it feel so special. That side chain compression, man. Please don't fade out. Lots of awesome vocal manipulation stuff here. Oh, this is so Gorillaz. Oh, yes. The pitch shifting and stuff. It feels very Plastic Beach.
But nobody knows what it. Don't be sad for me.
I wish it would have gone back to the chorus again, but it changed and went into a different direction, and I really like that. That song felt different. This is the last track, Possession Island, featuring Beck. Big fan of Beck, though I haven't really heard anything he's done in the last however long, very long. I always think of him as more of a sort of a dirty, gritty bluesy musician.
Stand and look out.
Like his voice and everything, though.
The dark lake
He's done lots of cool
where the
collaborations.
moon is rising.
Love the acoustic guitar. Noodle's like, hey, I'm going to play on this album too. And I know there was an electric guitar and stuff in a lot of those songs.
From the past in silence, where things they don't exist, and we're all in this together till the end.
Piano, beautiful. Yeah.
Pearly gates remain open and welcome me home. 'Cause the
It's so weird that something can sound like this can sound so Damon Albarn, but also Gorillaz at the same time.
of a ghost in Queen.
I mean, really, the Gorillaz could do anything. I keep waiting for Murdoch to become evil and have them make a metal album. I really enjoy that.
Exist.
Not that Murdoch hasn't always been evil, but you know what I mean.
Till the end, till the end, evermore. Should I ask you for forgiveness and open my heart?
Really beautiful harmony vocal part there. I assume that's Beck. Not what I would expect him to sound like.
In the dark, with things they don't exist, and we're all in this together till the end, till the end.
Huh.
Where things they don't exist, and we're all in this together till the end, till the end.
Yeah. That song again feels short as well. Oh, I love the piano stopping there, lifting the pedal up. Okay. Okay, so I think that I enjoyed that a lot more than I was maybe thinking that I would, but not necessarily, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I could. I think that still a lot of the songs felt short to me, even though looking at the lengths, it didn't seem like they were short. But in listening to them, I do feel like the first 7 songs on the album really had a very similar sonic palette. The drums were a little bit different from song to song, but for the most part, it was very drum and bass heavy in terms of what you were hearing. The core fundamental aspect of each song was the drum beat and the bass, and that makes sense. A lot of songs, those are the sort of the driving factors. It had a very funky, very nice, light, airy, sort of chill feeling, but it did still have that weird sort of like island feel that they captured on Plastic Beach, which is a really interesting way that they did that, use of sound effects and things on Plastic Beach, and then having this sort of like more chill vibes, which are definitely always associated with like lounging on the beach and things. But then to include these very, not necessarily shrill, but very classic synth sounds that are usually very dry, but you can throw some reverb, some delay on them and things, but you can really hear the synth sounds and recognize them for what they are. And to have those synth sounds where we normally associate them with more sort of like a driving mechanical sort of like 80s pop music, being much more mechanical, much more cold or cool sounding rather than warm, summery, to be able to attain that sort of chill, summery vibe and use those sounds the way that he does is so cool. It's a very unique and interesting sound that he has, a bit of a soulful, funky vibe, and that's what those first 7 songs were, and I really enjoyed all of those, but I do feel like a lot of them, the song just kind of started, and then it didn't change very much, and I can't really explain to you what I would want the songs to do differently. I definitely wish that there was a verse and then a chorus and a verse and a bridge and then a chorus and then a bridge and a chorus. Everything comes back to that chorus so that like, okay, we've gone on our journey, the song, we've come home, and now it's time to end the song and feel satisfied and complete with everything that we've heard. And I didn't really get that with really any of the songs on here. I didn't feel like it was that type of a journey. But the songs were longer, and I did like the verses. I feel like this album was much more focusing on the verses than the choruses. In the past, some of Damon's melodies are just so memorable. I mean, if you think about Windmill, Windmill for the land, forever hand in hand. Like, such memorable melodies that you can sing along with, these iconic melodies. And there really wasn't, there was only, I would say, maybe 2 songs that had like a moment where Damon was like singing this like very memorable melody that was really nice, and I would consider that probably the chorus of those 2 songs. I can't remember which songs it was exactly off the top of my head. I think one of them was the Tarantula one that I liked so much, but there wasn't really a lot of like memorable melodic parts that I feel like I would be able to sing with when I was listening to the album after the fact. So I feel like that's something that I kind of miss. I missed having the sort of, I really enjoy the rapping verses and then sung choruses, but I want the songs to be the way I want them to be. I know this is very weird, and I don't want to, again, I don't want it to just seem like I feel like I'm entitled to him making the style of music that I want. And I also don't want to feel like that. I don't want you to feel that I'm very negative on this. I'm very happy with that. I think I will purchase this album on CD and listen to it, a bunch of times. That Bad Bunny song was very confusing to me and disappointing because it was so structured. It was basically just 2 verses and that was it. And then there was a little bit of it was pretty much just 2 verses. I liked his verses. I liked Bad Bunny's performance. I liked everybody's performance on this album. It's just the lack of structuring and coming back to things that coming home feeling that I enjoy having at the end of songs when you reach the climax of a song, I don't feel like any of these songs really built to anything. They just started and then ended eventually, if that makes sense. Like, you didn't go on a long journey with each song. The songs didn't really take you anywhere. They put you in a spot when the song started and you basically stayed in that same spot till the song was over. And I guess that's where sort of some of my somewhat disappointing feelings come from, but not overall negative for sure. But after that Bad Bunny song, then we had those last 2 songs that were so different. We had the Bad Bunny song, the song after it, which was very different, and then that last song, which was obviously completely sonically, tonally different than everything on the album. And I really liked that. The difference between those 3 songs, if you would have a whole album full of just like a huge variety of songs and stuff, I guess that's kind of more what I would expect from the Gorillaz. But also I would expect all of those elements to be included in each song as well, which I know might seem like it would be like impossible, but the variety of what you're hearing, but then also the classic structuring of the songs is what I really enjoy about the first album. And then I don't actually enjoy Demon Days as much as Plastic Beach. So for me, the Gorillaz albums go in order: my favorite self-titled debut album, then Plastic Beach, then Demon Days. And I do enjoy Demon Days a lot, and I really appreciate it for the sonic, and I have the live DVD over there, which I forgot to bring over here. So I really appreciate Demon Days in other ways, the technical aspect of it, the performing, and all those things. But in my opinion, it's not as good as Plastic Beach or their self-titled. And so this album was good. It reminded me of Plastic Beach a lot with the sounds they were using, but it had much more of a driving beat. The songs were faster and they didn't necessarily feel as chill. It felt more dancey, which I'm sure is sort of influenced by the TikTok-iness of it, because I think on TikTok, like, one of the things people do is they just like dance to music. And so someone will start like a dance trend or something, and then everyone dances to that same song doing that same dance. Or maybe they do the same dance to different songs, I don't know. But every one of these songs definitely was something you could dance to for the most part, with the exception of those last 3 songs. And then that sort of other song that was a little bit, maybe track 2, that was a little bit different, a little slower. But sonically, everything was basically perfection. I love the way everything sounded. It was put together so well. The drums are so fantastic. The bass guitar on that first track, when it kicked in, I was like, wow, Murdoch really wanted some representation on this album. So I really enjoyed the bass a lot. I really enjoyed the drums a lot. The guitars were very tasty when they were in there. I really enjoyed that noodling, the sort of palm muting noodling that was going on. I really loved that. A couple of the songs had the sort of like faster strumming, the sort of, not as palm muting strumming, but when you're stopping it with your hand holding the chords out, like I'm not sure what that's technically called, but I mentioned that it reminded me of some of the rhythm guitar that was played in some of Michael Jackson's big hits like Billie Jean and stuff like that. Which there was a very famous guitar player who did all that stuff, and some of it sounded very similar to that, which is very nice and definitely fits with the aesthetic, like the theme of what everything sounds like. So that was really nice. Yeah, I don't really actually have too much to say because it didn't blow me away like I wanted it to. Like, I would not consider this album to be like a masterpiece album or anything like that. But I really prefer longer songs that always come to that completion. They build to that climax, and then you feel that sense of relief when the song is over, and you feel like you've gone on your journey and come home and returned home with that chorus. I know I've mentioned that several times now, but that's a very important thing to me and my taste of music, and so I miss not having that as much here. But I don't know. I really enjoyed everything that I heard was pleasant to listen to. Like nothing sounded bad at all. It was just the structuring, I guess, of the way it was put together and the lack of more that I wish I could have had, you know? And I don't know, like, I mean, it's not like the Gorillaz older material that I do enjoy a lot more. Those songs aren't all 5 minutes long. Some of them, like, I think Rhinestone Eyes, no, they do go to the chorus, I think, a third time in that. But not all of their songs are like that. I just feel like a lot of it was catchier. The music is really nice here, but the vocals weren't necessarily like, let's sing along with this song to me. And I certainly don't have to have a song be, sing-along-y in order for me to enjoy it. But I think, a lot of the Gorillaz songs that I love the most, they do have those fun parts to sing along with. And, I only heard these songs once, so maybe if I listen to them again, when I listen to them again, when I'm editing the video or whatever, I'll be totally wrong, and I'll be like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I talked over the really good parts of this song, which definitely could be contributing to what I'm feeling, but that's not usually a problem I have with my reactions. Usually I can still get the gist of a song without, while talking over bits and pieces of it. So, I liked it. Overall, I liked it. I'm happy with it. I'm much happier with it than I was with Song Machine and the Now Now and The Fall. I think Humans had so many songs on it, some of which were just like fantastic. So I don't know if I would necessarily say that I like this more than Humans. I should go back and listen to Humans again now that I have experienced 2 Gorillaz albums since then that disappointed me more than it, and see if I would appreciate it more now. I know there's a lot more hip-hop or rap on that one. Very little on this album, only the 2 songs really. I wouldn't really say that the Bad Bunny song was like rap or hip-hop at all, though I think that's sort of his genre, though I'm not positive. But then there was that one song with the guy that did the 2 rapping verses, and I really enjoyed that. Thought that sounded great. I like that. I would have almost preferred to have more rapping verses on this album. I think that would have been something to help diversify it from song to song a little bit, and make each song sound a little bit different from each other. But at the same time, I also love Tootie's vocals. I love Damon's vocals. I mentioned at the beginning a lot, and then I kind of just got used to it. But every song where Damon was singing, it does have that sort of like Gorillaz filter over all of the vocals. And I mentioned that sometimes when I'm listening to it, it almost sounds like the vocals are too detached from the rest of the song. The rest of the song is this like beautifully produced, everything sounds crystal clear and amazing, and it fits into the mix perfect. But then you have these vocals that slice right through everything because of the frequencies that are being amplified and boosted and the frequencies that are missing in his voice. But it does sound very Gorillaz that way. That's a hallmark of Damon's vocals. Really there wasn't any part of this album, maybe the last song, where he was singing with clean vocals. All the vocals for the most part, and maybe some of his background vocals did. I should have paid attention to that more. But I feel like a vast majority of the album, he was singing with that sort of like those filters on his vocals. And I didn't mind it a majority of the time, but there were times where I was like, this feels like it's a little too detached, too separate from the rest of the music. So I don't know if you know what I'm talking about and you feel that way too, let me know or whatever in the comments, because I can't be the only person that really feels that way, but maybe I am, I don't know. So let me know what you thought of this album. I wanted to say at the beginning of this video, and then I forgot because I wanted to get right into it and do a shorter intro, and I still talk for 20 minutes. But on my channel, I have something really fun going here right now. I'm going through 3 Metallica albums before the release of their brand new album next month in March. I'm listening to, for the very first time, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All. And I've just earlier today, hours ago, posted the Ride the Lightning reaction, and and I'm so happy that it was able to be uploaded with the music in it, and I'm so excited to listen to Master of Puppets and Justice for All. But I'm doing these reactions with a friend. For the first time, I had someone come and sit with me and actually do these reactions with me, and he's a big metalhead and knows a lot more about Metallica than I do, and he's experienced these albums many, many times over the years since he was younger. And he and I are having a little bit of trouble getting together to record the Master of Puppets and Justice for All. But no, on my channel just earlier today came out the Ride the Lightning reaction, where I heard that album for the very first time, and it was very interesting. And I got a metal history lesson, because I think my metal history was a little bit skewed, because well, it doesn't matter. You can watch that video if you want to hear that. But we talked for about over 2.5 hours about Metallica, and I tried to edit down as much as I could, but I found a lot of it to be interesting and fun conversation if you're the type of person that wants to hear other people talk and kind of argue about music a little bit. So if that sounds interesting to you, check that out on my channel. And know, coming up here very soon, I will have Master of Puppets and Justice for all leading to and culminating in the new Metallica album, which I think is called 72 Seasons, when that comes out next month. But I've got a lot of good stuff. Recently I've been keeping a calendar on, I've been keeping a calendar on my phone of new albums that are coming out. I've been adding them. And so yesterday was Gorillaz and the new Host album. Next week, I am so excited. We get a brand new Just Jack album, and I am so excited. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. But then we have March 24th. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, Metallica is in April. I was thinking it was March. It's April 14th. Whew. I got more time than I thought I had. Okay, really screwed that up. But in March, we get Depeche Mode and Ellie Goulding on the same day. Then we have Metallica and VNV Nation on the same day. The week following that is As Everything Unfolds, a metal band I'm kind of interested in, and The Heavy are releasing a new album. Then on the 5th of May, we have Death Stars, Sleep Token later. Oh man, we got so much good stuff. So that's all the things that I have coming up on my channel that I'm looking forward to. If any of that sounds interesting, think about subscribing, liking, whatever. I've talked enough here at the end of this video, so I'm just going to go ahead and end it and say thank you very much for watching. Let me know how your feelings of the Gorillaz and Damon Albarn and all that stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you next time.